Welcome to Grow to Glow Teens and Entrepreneurship First Virtual Conference. I am Nina Jones, and I am a sophomore at the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign. I have been with iGlow for years now, since my freshman year of high school. So this opportunity is nothing new to me, and I am super excited to be with you here today, Caroline. So can you please introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name is Caroline Burka. I am 18 years old and I am one of the co-founders of Da Bomb Bath.
Yes. So, as many of you know, she has a bath bomb company with her sister, which is super exciting. Can you just tell us a little bit more about that and how it got started?
Of course, yeah. So when Isabel and I, that's my sister, when we were 10 and 11, we were figure skaters and we skated pretty competitively. And so a lot of times after our skating sessions, we would calm down at the end of the day by taking a bath and we would use a bath bomb. And it was super fun, but a lot of times the bath bombs we would use would leave kind of a gross residue in our tub, or they'd leave behind stains and stuff in our tub. So it wasn't the best, and we were pretty creative, so we wanted to have a shot at making our own. And so we ended up experimenting, and we made what we like to call a clean recipe. So there's only a few ingredients in there. And at the end, since we were 10 and 11, we wanted a fun surprise at the end. So the surprise could be a toy or a message on waterproof paper or some jewelry or a charm, just depending on the name of the bath bomb and the fragrance.
Okay, yeah, that's definitely a unique bath bomb. Definitely, it's not so boring.
Yeah.
So on the social media front, how have you guys built your followers? I noticed that you guys have about 40K followers on Instagram. So how have you guys built that?
Yeah, I would say social media has definitely been one of the best forms of getting our brand out there.
Okay.
Um, and honestly, we don't buy any followers, we don't buy any likes, so it's all just built from what we started with. And I would say just reaching out to different people, whether it's through the comment section or Instagram DM, was super great for us, just to form that initial connection. And fortunately for us too, word of mouth was really great too. So we would visit some local stores of ours, give them our business card and a few samples, and just say, hey, try out our products. If you'd like, we'd love to be in your store.
Mhm.
And so I think the word kind of spread through there as well. But social media has definitely been a huge part of our business for sure.
Okay. And you said that at 10 and 11 is when you guys started noticing, your interest really for bath bombs.
Yes.
Okay, that's pretty cool. So
Thanks.
there are other bath bomb companies. And with that being said, how do you guys still make sure that your brand is still successful, considering other competition?
Right. I would say there are a few things that is different about our company. Obviously, first off, we were 10 and 11 when we started, and so we wanted it to be all about fun. Whereas I've noticed a lot of products or bath bombs are more relaxation focused.
Yeah.
And so for us, that was something that kind of differentiated our products. Another thing we wanted to do was put that surprise in there, because at the time, no one was really doing that either. So that was really great. And honestly, I think another thing too is just the fact that we were the target audience at the time. We were 10 and 11, we were teenagers. I'm still a teen. So we just wanted to create a product that we loved and that our friends would love. And I think that really helped too.
Yeah, I think that you guys being the target audience was the key for you guys knowing what would be, successful and you guys making, your products. Because you guys' products are super exciting, colorful. I know you guys have the tie-dye bombs, you have even like Disney ones, the Incredibles, Olaf, Nemo. So those are, pretty exciting things.
Yeah, for sure. I think we've definitely gotten a lot of really cool opportunities, working with Disney being one of them. Obviously, Isabel and I grew up watching Disney and watching the movies, and I still do, obviously. So it was kind of a surreal experience to be able to make bath bombs for Disney too.
Yes. And can you tell our audience how old you and your sister are now?
Yeah, so I am gonna be 19 in April, but I'm 18 right now, and Isabel is 20.
Okay, okay. So you guys were about, in the same age range, still teens right now.
Yeah.
So, as far as your support, how has that influenced your business? Have you had a good support team, people to really uplift your products and, support your business?
Yes, I can confidently say that having my parents, especially as our primary support system, has been insanely influential for our company. When we first started, obviously we were so little and we had never done anything like this before. And it was almost an accidental business. But once things started rolling and we started realizing that it could be an actual business, I think our parents did a really good job of saying, all right, we're here to support you. What do you need? We're not going to tell you exactly what to do. We want you to figure that out for yourselves. So if we ran into a problem, we had to come up with our own solution, which I also think was really important for us too. But they were just the best and they were totally there to support us. I actually remember so we had a mall retail cart in, I think it was 2016,
Okay.
maybe. It was in the earlier stages. And we were actually too young to work there. And so our mom would drive us to the mall and she would sit across from our kiosk that we had. And she would kind of just observe and make sure nothing was going wrong. But we would just sit at the kiosk and talk to people and start selling our products. So, um, yeah, I think overall having that support was huge. And our friends were also amazing at that as well.
Okay, that's great that you had a good support system because
Yeah,
obviously, you guys brand built by a lot. But of course, you guys started on a small scale, you guys just hand making them yourselves, correct?
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So at what point did you guys realize that your products are becoming more high in demand and that you guys needed more help?
Yeah, so it was April 1st of 2015 is when we officially launched our website and became an LLC. So that was
Okay.
kind of the official start for us. And then I remember exactly 1 year later, so April 1st of 2016 is when we signed a lease on a 5,000 square foot warehouse. And
Okay.
that's when we moved all of our stuff in. Because at the time, we were, like you said, we handmade the bath bombs in our basement. And it was super fun, a little crafty, but yeah, it was really great. And actually, Target approached us um, in the beginning of 2015. And we knew that at that point we were going to have to expand, and it probably wouldn't work to make bath bombs in our basement anymore.
Right.
So that's kind of, I think that was the turning point for us is when Target approached us because they straight away were like, we want you in all 1,800 of our stores,
Mhm.
um, selling no samples. So we just went straight into it. And we kind of looked at each other and we were like, all right, time to find a warehouse.
So you did have your parents, there to back you up, to support you throughout this process, which is, great because not a lot of girls our ages have that type of support system. So that is, very special. Um,
Yeah.
did you guys go through any setbacks or any doubts that you were encountering throughout this process? Maybe something like with Target, maybe our business won't make it that far. Things like that. Those types of thoughts.
I will say, I think we, since we were so young, we were also a little naive. And, I think going into it, when we first launched our website, Isabel and I looked at each other and we thought, we're going to sell out right away. Like orders are just going to
Mhm.
come flying in. And we waited for like a few hours as soon as we launched our website and no one was ordering. And we were like, is it broken? What's wrong? So yeah, I would say I think we were definitely naive, and that helped us in some aspects because I think we weren't as scared
Oh,
of any of the consequences or anything happening really. But looking back on it now, I also think we were very fortunate and very privileged too because we had that support system. We honestly, people just believed in our product, which I think was a huge thing for us. So I think it definitely took a lot of hard work and a lot of growing up quicker. But you know, I definitely think there was that aspect of just also being really lucky too.
yeah. So you mentioned that you guys had to basically grow up quicker just because you guys were so young doing this. Is that something that you feel proud of, or something that you kind of look down upon, that you had to, force yourself to kind of step into adulthood?
Yeah, I think, you know, at first I was annoyed and kind of frustrated because sometimes I'd have to miss dances or social events with my friends. And, you know, at the time I was really sad and, you know, like, what am I even doing this for? But honestly, looking back on it, the amount of opportunity and the experiences I've had from this business have just been so worth it overall. And I think it was really good that I grew up fast because um, it's just, yeah, it's something that I'm really proud of. And I think it's definitely a really important part of who I am too.
Okay, that sounds great. So, as far as you learning about, the aspects of business and entrepreneurship, although you say your parents were there, you had friends to support you as well. What other resources did you have to basically help you learn about the business side of things?
That's a good question. I would say so. Isabel and I initially started just going to different art fairs and selling our products through there. And I think the more you can put yourself out there and enter in different like art shows, or even they have specific business competitions you can enter in. And I think that was a huge thing for us because it allowed us to meet other entrepreneurs who were not doing the exact same thing, but you know, kind of going through the same motions of starting up a business. And I think it was super cool to just be able to have that tight community and to connect on certain things.
Mhm.
And I will also say too, we had a lot of great mentors as well. And so, for example, Angie from Boom Chicka Pop, the popcorn company, she was just so nice to us, and we felt really connected to her because her story is pretty similar to ours. Obviously, she's done it for a lot more years and had a lot of great success with that, and so we're kind of in the beginning stages of that. But it was just cool to kind of relate different stories with her, and she'd be like, "Yeah, we started in our basement." We were like, "Oh my gosh, we did too." And so I think just finding people that they don't have to be doing the same thing that you're doing, but kind of have those similar stories is definitely super awesome to have.
Yes, and for this conference, basically, that's what we're looking for. We're looking for girls to be able to relate to other girls, in entrepreneurship, who are starting a business, or at least showing some interest in starting a business. So it is very important that we have you guys here today to speak. As far as you having your sister as your business partner, can you tell us a little bit about that, and how the perks of having a sister as a business partner, and also the downsides to it as well?
Yes, for sure. You know, I think obviously all sisters fight, and we were already super close to begin with. But honestly, I feel like starting this company with her has brought us that much closer. And at times it can be really stressful and frustrating to, kind of distinguish your personal life from your business, because it's pretty much the same thing when you're working with your family. But it's also so great to know that your family has your best interest at heart, and they want you to succeed and they're there for you. Whereas, if you were with another business partner, they might be looking out for themselves more than you. So I think that was one of the biggest perks is when you work with your family, you just know that they're there for you and they want you to succeed.
Yeah. So as far as you pinpointing these certain things, are there times where you guys can now tell that this is good energy that you should bring your business around, and things that you want to bring your business around, versus you wanting to avoid bad situations, bad energy?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think it's important to acknowledge that sometimes situations get really stressful, and it's okay to um, kind of get frustrated and feel a little discouraged. And I think with that said, again, having my family or even my friends to support me was really important during those times. And I would say too, like, the one thing that I've seen is that if you're truly passionate about what you're doing, then you're going to have ups and downs. But if you just keep pursuing that and keep pushing, persistence is a really awesome thing to have, because honestly, I feel like at some point it will pay off.
Yeah, it definitely will, because you guys are already doing so well with the business.
Thank you.
We heard about you guys.
Thank
Um,
you so much.
yeah. So, as far as building your business, are there any things in the future that you want to do with your business, or even branch out, just to build or promote your business to its maximum potential?
Yes, definitely. I feel like we're always thinking about new things we can do, or how we can make a process more efficient. And I feel like a lot of times, when we're doing different interviews or anything, we'll always say, yeah, we're really hoping to go international. That's been a huge goal of ours.
Yeah,
Um, and it's exciting because we actually get to do that pretty soon. We're finalizing going to Canada. So that's
that's
pretty
pretty.
awesome. Yeah, and it's cool to look and be like, wow, look at all these different goals that we accomplished, and look what else we can do. It's really motivating. And other than that, I love expanding our product line. Isabel and I have written several different recipe books now on
Oh,
DIY and buy products. And that's been super cool because I never thought I'd be an author from
yeah,
writing or from starting a bath bomb business. So it's
yeah.
things like that where you kind of look back and you think, oh, wow, I can't believe I could do that from this. But yeah, I think going international was one thing that I've always wanted to do. So I'm excited that it's finally taking off.
Mhm.
And then yeah, we just launched some mocktail bombs and some tie-dye bath
Yeah,
bombs. So yeah, it's just so fun to come up with new products like that as well.
yeah. I definitely like the tie-dye bombs. Those are very cute. I like those.
Thank you. I feel like they're a little more trendy now, so we
Yeah,
thought we had to get in, yeah, at that moment.
tie-dye right now, you see it all in stores, on
Mhm.
clothes especially. So I think that by you guys putting it, in your bath bombs, that was definitely a great idea.
Thank you.
So as far as you guys seeking opportunities to maximize your business, how do you guys go about, taking those opportunities, or even coming in contact with those opportunities? Because for younger girls, it's hard for us to basically branch out. We're already scared because we're younger, a little bit more naive. So how do you guys take those opportunities, or even come into contact with those opportunities?
Yeah. I would say that, again, we were very fortunate when we first got introduced with Target. they actually found us in a local store and they reached out to us. And so that was an instance where I think we got really lucky, but um, they only saw us because of that small store, you know, in that local store. So I think starting smaller and just getting in contact with your local stores or some mom and pop shops are definitely a good place to start. But after you get your foot in the door with a mass retailer like Target,
Mhm.
then we started working with Ulta as well and
Okay.
CVS and Kohl's. And so um, I think once you get your foot in the door, then it's easier to expand. But as far as, you know, starting that initial connection,
Mhm.
I think if you just um, start having those connections with other business owners,
Mhm.
they might be able to get you a phone call or a meeting with the head buyer or something like that. And so I think just forming those connections never hurts.
Yeah, it never does.
Yeah,
So for you guys' products, we know that they're handmade and that you use clean ingredients. So how did you guys get to the point where you perfected your ingredients? How did you know that, say that first trial of ingredients wasn't right? How did you know that it wasn't right and then try to go from that to something better?
yeah, that's a great question. It definitely wasn't a straight line all the way to the perfect recipe we have. But we started out in our basement just looking at different recipe books and looking online and doing tons and tons of research. And Isabel and I would spend hours in the basement just kind of putting together different recipes. And
Mhm.
um, obviously, we had a few things we wanted to keep in mind when we were formulating the recipe. And so clean ingredients is one of them. We found a cosmetic grade pigment, so it won't stain you or your tub, which is awesome. And really, what we found is to make a bath bomb, you need an acidic and a basic, and that will form the fizzing reaction.
Mhm.
And so I think another thing that was important too is that, again, we were so young that we didn't know what all these fancy terms were for preservatives or emulsifiers or anything like that. There was, you know, we really didn't know that terminology. And so we had to start at the basics. But it definitely helped us in the long run because now we have a really simple recipe. And I will say too, after a while, we were actually using water to mix the batch together. And
Oh,
obviously, water is what causes that fizzing reaction.
mhm.
And so it was kind of a weird process. And we
Yeah.
were thinking, you know, there must be a better thing out there. And so we ended up contacting someone who formerly manufactured bath bombs.
Mhm.
And he helped us a little bit with that as well. So that was it was good to have that knowledge, but then also to again ask for help too.
Yeah. So, were there any times that you can tell us that you and possibly your sister or even your parents, where you guys disagreed on how to go about things, but you basically overcame it?
Definitely, yeah. Um, I think my sister and I obviously argue the most out of all of our family members. But I think it's nice to have that team with you because then you get everyone else's input as well. So if
Okay.
Isabel and I were disagreeing on something, we'd go to our parents and say, hey,
Mhm.
this is what I think. This is what Isabel thinks. Can you let us know what your opinions are?
Yeah.
And usually that was a good way to resolve the issue. But I think another thing too is we kind of had to grow up and learn that, you know, if we had an argument, it's okay to disagree, it's going to happen, but we need to be mature about it and we need to find a good solution that will benefit the company. So
Yeah.
I think it was just kind of another learning experience for us too.
Yeah, those are some tough decisions to make, especially at, a young age with a sibling. That's not something easy to do and to make such big executive decisions. That's something that not everyone can do. Not everyone has those leadership skills in them. So by you guys having that, that's very important, I think, to the entrepreneurship aspect.
Definitely, yeah.
So as far as the time management, you guys being so young, still in school, how did you guys manage, the business and, personal lives?
Yeah, I think honestly that is one of the biggest obstacles.
Okay.
Um, and I think at first it was really challenging because we were just getting started. No one really knew what we were doing or if it was going to work. And so we reached out to our school, and this was in middle school.
Okay.
And it was difficult because there's not really much they could do. And so they tried their best to let us, do our thing. But I think at the same time, they're like, okay, have fun with your little hobby. And so I would say in high school is when things got a lot better because we were actually able to, instead of taking electives, we did a program called On the Job,
Oh,
and we would actually get credit for working,
okay, that's
which
pretty
is
cool.
like the best thing ever. Yeah. And so I would say, if you're starting a business and you're struggling with time management, if you're in school, um, it wouldn't hurt to just reach out to your counselor or anyone and just say, hey, I'm really passionate about what I'm doing. I think it's going to go places. Is there anything I can do? And they might have a program similar to that, like On the Job, because honestly, that saved us
Yeah, that
so
was
much.
an opportunity for you guys.
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I would also say that, finding the time and learning how to manage your time is also a really important thing, and definitely something that I learned,
Mhm.
especially like I mentioned before, I would have to sacrifice some social events from
Yeah.
time to time. And that was just something that came with the business. And
Okay.
so I think although that was kind of a downside, I also got a lot better at managing my time, and it's definitely paid off in college now too.
Yeah. Are there any key concepts that you can think of or ideas that helps you to make the decision on whether or not you should, go hang out with friends versus you staying back at home and working on your products?
Yeah, I definitely think it depends on how driven you are and how passionate you are. I will say too, I don't think it's fair to just um, every single time avoid the social event or don't go to the social event because you um, just want to keep going at your business. I think it's important to work hard, but it's also important to reward yourself and recognize that you're working really hard. And I think that's kind of difficult for some people
Yeah,
to, because I feel like everyone always has their head down and they're working as hard as they can, but to actually take a step back and to
yeah,
look at what happened, yeah, and what you've done, I think that's also really important to do as well.
yeah, definitely. Um, I think that us being so young, still being in school, I think the academic, side of things definitely, makes it harder for us. Um,
Mhm.
and now, us being in a pandemic, things are a lot harder. Everything's online, virtual conference. Um,
Yes.
so how has the pandemic, affected, your business, and how have you guys stayed on top of things to make sure that, your business still stays, in good standing?
Yeah. Again, I would just like to acknowledge the fact that I think we are extremely fortunate
Mhm.
because I think a lot of people who needed to relax chose to use our bath bombs during the pandemic to relax. And I'm so thankful for that because our business thankfully hasn't taken an extremely hard hit.
Mhm.
I think that is not the case for so many other companies. So I think we're really lucky in that sense.
Mhm.
But I also am proud of that because we have over 200 people working for us in our peak season, which is like the holiday season.
Yeah.
So it makes me really happy to know that we're still employing those people and um, contributing to that as well.
Yeah, definitely. Like you say, you guys are very fortunate in that aspect. Um, Now, as far as your
100%.
bath bombs, how have you guys come up with new ideas? Like, how do you guys come up with exciting things? Like, I know you guys said that in each of your bath bombs, there's a surprise. So how did you guys even, think to make your stuff unique? How do you come up with new ideas?
Yeah, I think initially we wanted to improve the product we were using, and
Mhm.
so that definitely helped. And again, being so young, I feel like I keep saying that, but we were super creative and we love to have fun. And so I think that idea just kind of came naturally to us to put a surprise inside
Mhm.
of a bath bomb. But also in terms of where we are now,
Mhm.
our little brother, he's 14 now, but he loves to give us advice, and he would always give us, he invented the ninja bomb,
Oh.
and he gave us the idea for the disco bomb. So
Mhm.
he's also been a pretty big part of our company too, and giving us those ideas. Um, but another thing too, like I mentioned before, just looking at what's trendy and what's um, the in style in the moment, I think that's really awesome. And obviously be careful with that too, because some trends, go just as quickly as they come in.
Yeah.
So I think it definitely depends. But yeah, just whatever you're excited about, whatever's trending, I think that's also important too.
Yeah, definitely. So, as far as knowing what's trending, can you give any advice to our audience um, on what platforms to use, how to find this info, how to do research?
Yeah, honestly, I keep going back to this, but I feel like Instagram has just been the
Yeah.
best because that's where a lot of our audience is right now.
Mhm.
So I think the first step would be to look at who your audience is
Okay.
and then figure out where they're going and what they're doing. But I would say, yeah, Instagram has been great. I think, Twitter is kind of fun too. It's more like just verbal stuff and
Yeah.
tweets, but Instagram is nice because you get all the visuals as well.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and even just looking on like YouTube too, that's really fun, and it's a creative platform too. So um, Isabel and I have kind of gone into that area a little bit too with YouTube, but I think Instagram and YouTube would be where we get most of our ideas or inspiration.
Okay. So how consistent do you think that someone starting a business should be as far as promoting their products, or if it's not products, their services on a platform such as Instagram?
That is a really good question. There are so many different things you can do just with Instagram, honestly, and I'm not extremely familiar with all of that, but establishing yourself as a business gives you more insight into who has seen your post, what age they are, how many
Yeah.
likes you get, what's your engagement like. So there's so many different things like that that could really help, and it will even tell you like the time of day that's best to post. So
Okay.
that's,
Yeah.
yeah, it's super helpful, and it's just really great to know all the little things like that too. And I think YouTube does the same thing with that too. So it's really helpful.
Okay. And as far as us being in the pandemic, everything is virtual for the most part. However, how would you tell our audience that they should go about promoting their products or their services, upfront in person, instead of doing platforms, through social media?
Yeah, I definitely think it's important to know your product, but also have a really good pitch, because you want it to be engaging. You don't want to ramble on necessarily. It should be more concise and to the point.
Mhm.
And honestly, always carry a business card too. I know with social media and the internet, it might be going out of style or something, but I always carry my business cards with me,
Okay.
because you never know who you're going to run into. I think one
Yeah.
day we ran into the CEO of Caribou, and so
Oh,
the coffee shop. Yeah, so we just gave him our business card because you never know what you're gonna get with that.
yeah,
So yeah, I think, and then if your product is tangible or if it's smaller, just carry some in your bag too.
yeah.
It never hurts.
So you said that, having a good pitch is something that is very important. Do you mind giving us an example of what, a good pitch would be like, for example, with your business?
Yeah, definitely. So Isabel and I usually start, we kind of banter back and forth
Yeah.
with each other, but um, the condensed version of it is we are two sisters. We co founded a company all about fun. It's different because there's a surprise inside and it's for everyone. So we have products for teens, adults, boys, girls, anyone, anyone can enjoy the bath bombs. And then make sure to tell them your website or your social media or anything important like that.
Okay, okay, sounds good. So, for your target audience, I noticed that, you guys started off when you were very young. So you knew that, people around your age would like things that you liked, essentially. So as you got older, has your target audience changed, or are you guys trying to change it?
Um, I would say generally our audience has been kids from, 4 to, we have grandparents buying for their grandchildren.
Okay.
But generally it's ages 4 to about 25.
Okay.
So I would say our age range is pretty broad, just because we have like the quote bomb, which is really awesome for adults. And we also have the F bomb, which might not be suitable for younger children. So I think we are expanding our product line intentionally so that we target all of those age ranges and anyone who is looking for a bath bomb. So I think in some sense we are trying to expand our age range a little bit as well.
Mhm.
Um, but for the most part, we know that kids and teens love bath bombs the most. So I think that's kind of where we're trying to stick to as well.
Yeah, that's, great ideas, to keep your business afloat. So are there any more key or essential things that you would tell our audience that is important in, being so young, and starting a business? What are some of those key things that stuck with you, while you built your business?
I will say that I think when I was first starting, I was very shy
Mm.
and I was not the best at public speaking, which is kind
Okay.
of ironic now.
Yeah.
But I think it's also a good thing because, it shows that you don't need to be super confident or know exactly what you're doing. Because the truth is, not a lot of people know exactly what they're doing. I still don't know certain aspects of business, and I don't think I know barely anything because I feel like I've just gotten started. But I think that your confidence and your knowledge will grow with your company. So it's
Mhm.
okay to accept that you might not understand everything. But I definitely think that starting with just what you know is really important. And I know that Isabel would oftentimes, speak for me or help me out a little bit, which I really appreciated. And it definitely helped me kind of warm up to people and be more social. Um, but yeah, if that gives anyone some hope out there that if you're kind of shy and you don't really know how to talk to people, it's okay because I was there too.
Yeah,
So yeah, I think not only does your business grow, but you grow with the business as well.
that's great. I like that quote that you just said. That's really nice.
Thank you.
I think that a lot of teens will definitely be impacted by what you've said today. You've given some great advice, and you've kept it fun. You told us about, basically from the start to where you are now and how you guys are venturing off, internationally, going into Canada, which is, super great. Congratulations on that.
Thank you so much.
So yeah, we're so grateful to have you. You've told us a lot, gave us a lot of insight on entrepreneurship and teens being entrepreneurs, the fun sides and the downsides to it. So we are super grateful. And do you have anything else you would like to share with the audience today?
Um, First of all, thank you so much. This was so fun, and it's such an honor to be speaking to all these young, amazing people. Um, I would say if you didn't listen to this entire presentation, the one thing I would say is don't be afraid to start what you're passionate about, because I think a lot of people think that, oh yeah, this sounds great, maybe I'll do it in a few years.
Yeah.
But the best time to do something or start something that you're passionate about is right now.
Hmm.
So that would be my one piece of advice.
That was a great one. That we would love to leave on such a great note. So yes, so thank you again. You've done a lot to us and for teens in entrepreneurship.